Hey, Chuck. That's where it shows you how many people are logging. So as they join and log on, the number will change. Yeah, it's just YouTube. It's not Zoom. Yeah. There's nobody there. Not yet.
I'd like to call the meeting to order, please. Give everybody a chance to get comfortable. It might be a while. So we will call the meeting to order. I want to thank all of you for making the time to come down to the 2026 annual meeting for the SBV POA. Anyone here for their first annual meeting? Okay, would you identify yourselves, please? I know who you are. Go ahead.
My name's Ron Peters. We just bought a condo up on Birdie Lane.
Whoa.
I was like,
The better half.
Yeah.
First order of business
oh, you
is,
got one over here. The lady over here.
oh, I'm sorry,
You said you were the first time. Couldn't hear you.
No? Oh, okay.
we're off on a great foot.
It's not true.
First order of business is the approval of the minutes from the May 2024 annual meeting.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from the May 24 meeting. 25, 26, May 24, what is that?
No, should be 25.
May 25 meeting.
25.
Okay. May 20th, 2026.
We didn't skip last year.
It's
What is that?
That's a typo.
2025?
God, you had me questioning.
What does it say, 24?
Yeah, 24, 25.
Yeah, we changed there.
Okay.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes are approved. We'll move right on and I'll turn things over to Bill.
All right, I'll try to start off right and talk loud from the beginning this time. Is this good? Hear me? So, thanks for coming out. I'm working off 3.5 hours of sleep. We had project graduation last night. My son graduated, so we stayed up all night and they played games and it was a lot of fun for the kids, I think. I don't know, the volunteers had fun. Thanks everybody for coming out. We got out some extra seats, thinking maybe we'd have more, but we do have about 5 people dialed in online. We can see right there, so there's at least 5 more watching today. But I'm gonna go through some stuff, kind of talk about some history, and then make my announcement. But I'm gonna go back farther than just the year in review. I'm gonna go back from 2011 when I started as general manager. Since 2000, Stonebridge with a consistent focus on financial responsibility, infrastructure investment, and long-term stability. So together with the staff and contractors, we've worked diligently to maintain safe, well-kept village and to implement operational and capital standards that exceed infrastructure will typically support. So these efforts have been done in good faith with the intent of serving both the resident and the non-resident owner. The measurable results of that are pretty clear. Since 2011, our operating capital has grown from $220,000 to $785,000 on average. Our reserves have more than 10 times, from $36,000 to $407,000. And during the same period of time, our asset level went up from $8.8 million to $13.9 million. So we did all that, and we still reduced debt a little bit, $220,000 over the last 16 years, 15 years. So, in addition to the financial performance, we've done infrastructure improvements and community enhancements, including but not limited to, we got a little list here, the new clubhouse the banquet center roof, the new well and expanded water supply, Fox Hollow Pavilion and Pavilion Pool, the new golf course pump station, guardrail installations, micro sealing on the roadways. We purchased the Welcome Center. We had to be earth and dam certified, and we've got safety permits and operating permits, certifications for that. And we're able to finish nearly 10 miles of the undeveloped roads, underdeveloped roads, mainly in Forest Lake. So we did all that, all those expenses, purchases, improvements, whether planned or not, could have been. We were able to do it with. We've had one special assessment, 1 year. So that's pretty good. So further accomplishments since my time here that I could just think of. We took over ownership of Fox Hollow Pavilion. Mentioned that already. Covenant changes. We made covenant changes to address the village's evolving needs. Welcome Center check-in. We've got award-winning golf operations, clubhouse renovations, including the replacement of the chandelier. We brought Cedar Glade into the association. We finished road and bridge work on Mining Meadows. We successfully defended our FAM lawsuit. We resolved the cart barn flooding issues, which troubled us for years. We did the pavilion pool rebuild without service interruption. That's kind of the key there. Eastgate guardhouse replacement, we did that. We established Stonebridge Village Property Holdings LLC, a holding company for distressed lots. We navigated an active shooter shutdown. We kept the golf course operational in lieu of closing when we lost all access to water. We legally removed the clubhouse from the floodplain twice. We found common ground between the resident owner and short-term rental owners, I think. We secured hundreds of thousands of dollars in forgivable SBA loans during COVID. Maintained control over village access, established agreements finally with the timeshares, and we've effectively still have work to do. Manage wildlife challenges with the bear migration and the vulture control. So we've done a little better with the vultures than the bears, but all in all, the village has done well to kind of get the bird feeders out, cover the trash, get things done. So we're seeing fewer bears in this area at least. So, you know, all those results are a reflection of our commitment to the village's success. Today's Stonebridge is the strongest it's ever been. I'm proud of what we've accomplished over the years. But I do think, and I think most people here would probably agree that the culture here is suffering a little, and I take full responsibility for that. So in January this year, I decided to resign and began working with the board of directors to establish an exit strategy to service the association. My last day is going to be December 31st this year. And, you know, my departure is not a reflection of lack of commitment or capability, in my opinion, but rather just a recognition that effective leadership is going to take some clear authority, board support, and an environment where standards and decisions are respected and communicated. Lately, though, this is a good thing. We've been seeing some renewed excitement regarding activities, especially with Michelle Pewing getting involved. Food and beverage, we've seen some positive things happen there, most recently, and then golf as well. So I'm happy for that. So, and I'm hopeful that whoever steps into the general manager position is received with the same support and enthusiasm that I was when I started 21 years ago. So, appreciate it.
Thank you, Bill. And Larry has something that he would like to say.
How many of you picked Aaron Ray to win the PGA?
I picked Aaron Rye.
Right. Okay, I got it. What the heck, no, I'm just thinking.
You just gotta force it down in there.
Okay.
Just snaps in. You good?
Thank you. Hello?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you got it.
All right, well, Bill didn't know I was gonna do this, or the board wasn't gonna do this, but we know that Bill will be leaving us, will not be leaving us for another 6 months. But the current board has worked very closely with him over the last few years, and we wanted to take this opportunity to express our appreciation. On behalf of the board of directors and the Stonebridge Village community, I'm honored to share this tribute to Bill and recognize his many years of dedicated service and leadership that he talked about. Throughout his time with Stonebridge, Bill has brought a steadiness, professionalism, and a deep sense of responsibility to every role he has held. He has given this community not only his time and energy, but also his genuine care. From his early years in golf operation to his leadership as the general manager of Stonebridge Village, Bill has guided this community with integrity, discipline, a calm, dependable presence, and the board has long valued his judgment, his consistency, and his willingness to take on difficult responsibilities with care. His experience has served him well, and it was his character and trust and respect of so many. Residents and board members alike have seen Bill in a spirit of fairness, patience, and dedication to doing what was right for the whole community. His leadership has strengthened Stonebridge Village in lasting ways because of his service. The community has enjoyed greater stability in the future and a clear sense of direction. That, combined with a sound leadership and personal integrity, is part of the legacy he leaves behind us. Under Bill's leadership, Stonebridge also experienced meaningful financial strengthening. I have the numbers here, he went over them with you. Operating capital increased from $255,000 to $1,155,000. Reserves grew from 36 to 406. Total assets increased from 8.7 million to 13.9, while the total debt declined for $1,000 over the period of years. Those results reflect careful stewardship, sound planning, and a steady commitment to the long-term health of the community. We also recognize that Bill's service extended beyond Stonebridge Village into the broader community. His willingness to serve wherever he was needed reflected the same generosity, commitment, and desire to make things better for others that we have seen throughout his work here. Bill, thank you for your leadership you have provided, for the burdens you carried, and for the many contributions you have made to Stonebridge Village over the years. We are grateful for the example you have set for the lasting difference you have made in this community. Please accept our respect, our appreciation, and our best wishes in the years ahead. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. And let me start by saying that I, along with the rest of the board, could not agree more with what Larry just said about Bill's tenure here. We've all been very fortunate to work with him. We've had tough times, we've had good times, but the village is better, stronger, and better financially situated than it was. And that's something we can all take pride in. A couple of the things that I was going to mention tonight, Bill's already brought up, so I'm not going to repeat. But I do want to acknowledge the committee members that are here. Your service is appreciated. You know, it's not always easy, but it is appreciated and it does count for something. Financially, I'm not a numbers person. I'll let Eric take care of the numbers. He can do a much better job than me. Infrastructure, we had the bridge repaired at the west gate. We've done the roofing here at the guard shacks. The grounds look great. John Rippinger and his group are always out there. We couldn't ask for a nicer place to be. Golfing, I don't golf either, but I will say just how beautiful the course is to a non-golfer. And I know that Colby and his group are out there all the time, keeping up. And the one area where I do know because I eat, we've been making changes to the operation of the grill. The board has instituted quite a few changes, many of which aren't visible because they regard the back of the house, kitchen layout, inventory, ordering, pricing, things of that type. We did it for the Food and Beverage Advisory Group, which will have its first meeting next week, Diane.
Yes, 26th.
And family-friendly dining on Friday. We tried that a couple of weeks ago and it was really good. Hope everybody else goes down and gives it a try. The amenities, time, activities director. People come up with a lot of great things that everybody wants to participate in. And I mentioned to Diane earlier that if you have something that you think would be appropriate for the food and beverage group, don't let them know about it. The renovation not the renovation, but the refresh at the Welcome Center to provide a improved positive image and image for people when they first come in to register, I think will be appreciated. The beautification group that Carol's, overseeing with all the flowers, everything in the village, as well as the Christmas beautification group that wants to, emphasize that at the Christmas season. Again, we appreciate everybody's time and effort in all these, various facets. And we couldn't do it all without you. So, thank you. Now, for the service of past committee members, if you're present, if you just stand up. From the Finance Committee, Rita DeRocher, Tim Robinson, Eric Sellers, Bob Herbst, and from the ACC, Cece Layton.
We can represent all of them.
There you go, Rita. There you go, Rita.
Now, a bit of a sad thing is to recognize the people that will be leaving the board this year. Nicole, Larry, you've both been here 6 years?
6 years, yeah.
Jeremy, who could not make the meeting tonight, was also a 6-year member, if I remember correctly. We've had our differences of opinion, but we've always pulled together and did what we felt was in the best interest of the village. And we have a little something here for each of you.
I took Jeremy's.
Oh,
That's easy out there. I'm just gonna keep it from myself.
If you couldn't show up, we won't tell him.
These just can't go.
and those carry the appreciation of all your fellow board members.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Now we will do the yearly recap from the committees.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining in person and those who are streaming just as well. Normally our annual meeting is our governing documents required for our books to be audited by a third-party auditor. They're still in our books, but they will be here in June, so I'm going to provide just an annual recap, and I'll try to keep it brief, because we've got another meeting after this just as well. And these are just some figures. Some individuals who may have been part of committees and various things have a better grasp. Others may not attend meetings regularly or maybe pay attention as much as what's going on. But without further ado, our 2025 annual recap. I can say that it's 2025. I'll kind of start with revenue here. Stonebridge Village as a whole posted total revenue of $6,397,407. That revenue is mainly divided up into 4 different operating areas. Operating areas include common area, the golf department, town home, and food and beverage. Of these 4 operating areas, common area comprises 51% of all revenue, at least it did in 2025, totaling $3,304,909 at year end. The golf department is the second largest revenue generator, as it comprises revenue totaling $2,044,078 at year end 2025. Then you have townhome, which comprises 2% of all revenue, $120,384. And then finally, food and beverage, which in 2025 comprised 15% of total revenue with $971,879. The other negligible sub 1% of revenue basically is derived from 3 additional areas, namely interest income on our Stonebridge Village bank accounts, any type of gain we might receive off the sale of a depreciated fixed assets, or the sale of a trading security year end. All 3 of these aspects only total $24,920 year end 2025. Now, with the $6.4 million in revenue, Stonebridge Village also accrues expenses throughout the operating year. Within 2025, we had total operating expenses of $6,405,024. Operating expenses are really spread across various operating departments. These include security, recreational activities, common area maintenance, amenities maintenance, administration, pro shop, golf course maintenance. That's kind of the 9 departments that comprise our whole operation. In the off season, we employ roughly 45 to 50 employees, whereas in season the number jumps to 85 to 90 employees. This gives everyone an idea just not only the scope of the operation, but also the coordination necessary to keep up with daily operations of Stonebridge Village as a whole. So, another aspect of 2025 I'll talk about is with the development this. Another key component necessary for maintenance and upkeep is our capital expenditures. We have a beautiful development, kind of highlighted it a little bit between Bill and Larry and Chuck. But to keep our development up to the expectations of our owner base, infrastructure, buildings, and equipment. Assets at the year end 2025, according to our balance sheet, totaled $20,487,202. So over $20 million in fixed assets that comprise the village. It comprises common property, golf course, clubhouse, pavilion, welcome center, parks, and the equipment necessary to maintain all of these areas. Within the 2025 year, we reinvested $400,000 back into infrastructure, buildings, and equipment. And in 2026, we're scheduled to reinvest close to $620,000, so $1 million at least last year, this year. That's just kind of what it takes to maintain and upkeep. And everything is not getting cheaper, I would say. And a final aspect to cover as it relates, this has kind of been touched upon, kind of to a balance sheet item, is just Stonebridge Village's operation and the development's ending cash position 2025 year end. So at year end 2025, we had a total cash position of $1,193,386. And I can say that over the years, I've witnessed the development of Stonebridge, and I've seen gain in efficiencies, operations, and cash management, navigated our business and competitive landscape. And I can confidently say that we are not only more nimble as a development, but also more improved and prepared to handle what may be in the cards for Stonebridge Village in the years ahead. So just want to give thanks to all our ownership, for without you guys, everybody, we wouldn't be here. And also because of you, we'll continue to be here in the future. Now I know and understand that we have some growing pains from time to time. It's just part of the process. The board members will be part of those growing pains as we continue to push forward. Making the correct business decisions is not always popular with all constituents. But I would say just know that we're here with a common goal, and that's every single one of us, even if we differ in opinions. And that is to continue to make Stonebridge Village a wonderful place to live, a wonderful place to play, and a wonderful place to share with your friends, family, and neighbors. 2025.
Thank you, Chair.
The ACC report, John?
Good evening. So our recap for this last year for 2025, we actually did a really busy year for new builds. The total completed new construction homes this last year was 16. One completed by Strong Construction, one by Master Construction, 9 by SMJ Builders, and 3 by Branson Golf and Lakes Property Stopper Senior. We also had 2 builds that were completed, one by Cox Creations and one by Skeeter Wall Construction, as to which both of those builders were denied to be approved builders in the village after their first probationary builds. To date so far for this 2026, we've had 5 total builds that have been completed so far. One of them by SMJ Builders, one by Grubach Construction, and one by Strong Homes. And then we also had 2 more builds that were completed, one by VIP Homes and one by Shamrock Builders, which again, we denied both of them to be approved builders in Stonebridge Village as well for the future, based on the performance of their builds. Some of the highlights of 2025 that we did as a committee, we really focused a lot more on the new construction, current requirements and guidelines that we had, reviewing those to make sure we keep the overall vision for Stonebridge Village moving forward. We came up with a new builder application and a $750 non-refundable fee to submit your application to be a builder. We also came up with a renewal fee for $250 this moving forward as well too. So there's just a lot of work that Tony and the committee does behind the scenes to approve those as far as checking references, checking builds and stuff. So we felt that our type of neighborhood, other neighborhoods require it, so we implemented both of those, which have been very well as well. We've also updated for insurance for builders, and then we've also came up with some highlighted checklists and some one-pages from what we're seeing is violations on new builds and stuff, so they have a one-page instead of having to read through all of our documents of the most common issues that we're having on new builds when they start. We also have quarterly meetings now with contractors throughout the year. So we kind of get an update in the status of where they're at on their builds, so we understand, what they're doing, any challenges that they're facing as well too, which has been very receptive by all the builders in the neighborhoods. Currently, we're working on spec home requirements. If anybody's wanting to build spec homes in Stonebridge, we currently have 8 of them being built right now. So we're kind of monitoring those a little bit more with the current housing market, just to make sure we maintain the quality of those, and then also the property value of Stonebridge Village, not making sure we're oversaturated on spec homes that are just sitting there, because we do have several of them that have been for sale for quite some time. Other than that, just our normal operations throughout the year, monitoring any requests for landscaping. We do ask, as long as you guys aren't changing anything, if you're just updating stuff that you currently have, you don't have to have any permits or requirements for that. But if you don't know, Tony is a very good resource. Just make sure you always ask her, and she'll let you know if you need to get something in front of the committee. And that is it.
I'm just curious, the 2 homes at Bedrock and Forest Lake, are those, who's the builder on those?
Which 2, I'm sorry?
Bedrock and Forest Lake?
The ones on the corner?
Yeah.
I am.
You are?
Mhm.
They're moving really fast.
Yes.
And who, the owners, are they
Brothers.
brothers? Okay.
Yeah, they're brothers.
The rumors continue, don't
The what?
they? The rumors continue.
Yeah, the rumors keep going, I think not one they're
Yeah, they're brothers that are moving there. Yes, and their daughter lives across the street.
Okay, so that's the daughter across the street.
Yes, that is correct.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
And the golf committee, Greg?
Good evening, everybody. I'm just gonna be really short and sweet, because the agenda is packed and I know everybody wants to have an opportunity to talk. From the golf committee in 2025, the biggest thing that we focused on last year was driving it at the board's request, a new golf cart policy, which was, fun and entertaining at most times. But nonetheless, that was the biggest thing we focused on. And like the golf committee does every year, we're always taking feedback from golfers and other members. And we like to try to address those at each meeting. And a lot of them are little bitty things that just a simple conversation can handle. So we do a lot of things like that. And then we take on the bigger, besides the golf cart policy, we did a Colby on the condition of the course. What can we do? And Colby was excellent with coming up with ideas of how to handle it at a very efficient cost, and also things that he thinks about that he's putting in his long-term plan. So we have a really good interaction with Colby. And Bill as well. Bill keeps us in line for the most part whenever we kind of wander astray. So we appreciate you, Bill. And that's really pretty much it, from 2025 being short and sweet.
Thank you.
Thanks, Frank.
Before we move on to the committee assignments, I realized that I left down a very important bullet point when I was speaking. Bill's announcement today does not come as a surprise to the board. We've known for some time. The board has a plan in place to recruit a replacement general manager. We are working towards that, and we hope over the next several months to be successful in our search. Sorry to break the flow, but I didn't want to let that pass. For the 2025-26 committee assignments, the ACC will be Richard Dillard, Robert DeRocher, Carol Gerhardt, Jim Holliday, Tim Robinson, Johnny Stauffer as chair, and John Wiskarch. And I will remain as the liaison for the ACC. The Finance Committee, this was a short list. Vicki Magnuson, Larry Tungate, Dave Vanderveen, and 3 empty seats. So if anybody here has any interest at all, contact one of the members of the Finance Committee, and I'm sure they'll be glad to talk to you.
Hey, Chip. Sorry, I talked to Jeremy on the phone this weekend, and he wants to run for the Finance Committee. He needed to submit an application. I told him probably not. He still had his resume on file. Everybody knows him. There's 3 open seats, so I didn't think it was an issue. I told him I'd bring it up today. So,
I don't think there'll be much of a.
you want to assign, would you like to assign him to the committee or wait?
Well, it's like,
I think we can assign him, knowing his background, his interest.
Hey, no.
Is there anybody else in the audience?
Well, that's, see, you have to put the board to go to finance, I guess. Larry will remain as the liaison for the Finance Committee. The Golf Committee, that will be Joe Allen, Rick Carter, Margaret Easter, Janet Stevens, Craig Hummel, and Jim Wagner, and Dan Ward. And Terry, you're going to remain as the liaison for that. The Food and Beverage Advisory Group, that's Diane Hobson, Steve Sanders, Lynn Sherman, Robert DeRocher, Jan Stevens, Deb Haggerty, and Jill Hummel. And there will be no liaison assigned to the group. Now for the big part, the annual election ballot report. Bill?
So this is one of the last things to announce the winners of the election, so but if you don't, we'll second, and then we'll convene the regular May open session May. So after the results are given and this meeting comes to an end, the 3 new board members will take their seats at that. But there were 4 candidates this year running for 3 open spots, and the 3 new board members that were elected are Mike Morris, Scott Pieper, and Wayne Cober. Congratulations. And you guys will come up to the table this meeting and see, so we're gonna recall.
And if there's no further business to come before the committee, as for movement to motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
The 2026 annual meeting is now adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
I'll put the other 3 out. Only if you want to. Yeah, that's time for this. It's just, I mean, you can do what you want. So this is just some catch up on stuff in the last few years. Maybe it was
Okay, did everybody get a chance to get some coffee? Tell you what.
Yeah, I went to the back HBCs.
Okay, we'll call the regular POA meeting for April 26th to order. The first order of business will be to review the minutes from last month.
Motion to approve.
Second.
There's a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, and for the new board members and the officers for the board, this term will be president. I will continue in that position. Lenore will continue as vice president. Wayne has agreed to be the secretary for this term, and the treasurer will continue to be Larry Miller. And now the general manager report.
Okay, so, the contractor that's building the retaining wall at the pavilion pool needs dry conditions, both existing and forecasted. Sounds crazy because it feels super dry, right? But he's committed to getting this project done as soon as he can. He's got all the block, on his quarry, out the backside of the village, just waiting to be installed. He's eager to get it done. So he stated he wants the elements forecast allowed. He wants to begin the work. The pool at the pavilion is still scheduled to open on Friday the 22nd because we don't have a structural problem there yet, but we're just gonna take care of it. So it may need to be shut down when they come to do the work. It may not, still don't know, but we'll work on whatever the recommendation is at that time. So I know it's difficult, especially for the short-term rental owners when that pool is shut down. And you know, it makes everything a little bit more difficult because the capacity on that pool is so much more. And if it gets displaced to the clubhouse, it becomes a little chaotic. But the playground equipment at the clubhouse is still, at this time, I put a few weeks away. I got an email from Willie Goat. That's who we're getting the equipment from just this last week. And they said it's getting close to delivery. So they didn't give me a time frame though. They just said close to delivery. The original estimate was 10 to 14 weeks, 10 to 16. I keep forgetting to say 16. 10 to 14 weeks. So they're getting close. The bridge inspection report is in. According to the engineer, Jeff Purdy, the bridge is in fair condition with no structural movement or excess deflection. For this year, they're recommending that we clean it and treat the corroded areas and remove vegetation near the concrete structure of the bridge. In the future, though, we will need a plan to budget to repair and or replace the deck pans and perform more regular inspections like we've already
Do you
discussed.
have any idea what that will cost?
No, I'm getting estimates on them now from, he gave me 2 different places to reach out to. Both of them are in Springfield. You know, there may be some locals that we can, I don't know if that's something that, you know, Navold specializes in. According to the engineer, this group that he sent us to specialize in this type of work, so.
The bridge is okay.
Yeah,
Good.
but we can't ignore it.
Would that require shutdown of the bridge during that construction period to repair that you were talking about?
That how important he felt it was, but if it, we'll have to generate a plan, and then it'll probably be through somebody else's property.
Well, when you do the panels, I would think the bridge would be shut down anyway.
I don't know.
It could be shut down to one lane, who knows?
Yeah.
So we
Or maybe one lane.
Yeah.
I guess we'll find out.
Phase 2 of the cart path project and repaving the Westgate entrance are still being forecasted for the year, or planned for the year. The paving will take place once we have warmer weather, and the cart path project is scheduled for October. Upcoming owner activities include Christmas and July party on Sunday, July 19th. And the garage sale is happening on Saturday, August 8th. We'll have more planned, I'm sure, but those two are two that we have on the calendar. So. And that's all that I have. The club championship going today in the wind. It seemed like it was pretty windy. I was sleeping this morning, but
I know,
it looked like it was pretty windy and raining.
it was raining, but it was awesome day.
And then just get ready for day 2.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The committee reports, as far as HVC in golf, that we're done in the annual meeting, Eric will do the finance report. Eric, the monthly meeting
Okay, round 2. Everybody's got their financials now, kind of multicolored. Normally we stay kind of on the left-hand side, middle column. That is this month's actuals. Just to the right-hand column of that's kind of budget. Left column is last year actuals, same month. So we did have a good month. We'll kind of start on the bottom line here, where we can see that we did post a net income of $23,900. $17,970 better than budget for the month. And compare that and look at the left column. Last year we had actuals of a $48,007 loss, so about a $72,000 swing to the better, quite honestly, from April to April 25. If we go up to the top, highlighted green block, we can see total common area revenue came in at $257,928. That was below our budget figure of the $268,462. Really getting to what detail is provided here. Assessment revenue obviously is on at $277,160. We had a lack in activities and facility fees, but we haven't been doing any activities events here as of recently, so you can foresee that. Welcome Center lease revenue has been behind this year, at least from what was budgeted at $3570 compared to the $5600. I will state that we did have a new office tenant here in the month of April, and then we did just receive the contract back for the leasing out the entire upstairs. So we are leasing out the entire upstairs for $2,000 a month, which you'll see come in June, actually. So there's good news there, and then we only have 4 offices left on the downstairs level, quite honestly, so we'll see what. Nightly rental fee revenue was under budget at $18,657. We'll say January was strong, and really February, March, and April that all come underneath what the actuals were in the previous year. So we'll see how May, June, July, and how the rest of the year shapes up. And then other revenue, you can see we posted $6,262, off budget figure of $9,038, and really that was just a timing with the advertising. $257,928 total common area revenue. The red pen block there, that's common area expenses. Total common area expenses we can see came in at $253,801, which was below budget by about $300. Security was slightly elevated, just really a timing issue with some new NEDAP readers. We did have recreation expenses. Budget will continue to stay in budget for right now with the absence of Kayan and not filling that position at least yet here within the month of April. Common area maintenance expenses were under budget at $135.35, and then administrative was slightly higher at $87 compared to overall total common area expenses about $3,000 under budget. So common area net came in at $4,128, about $8,000 off budget for the month. Keynote, if we can go over here to the right side real quick in that same line and just look at common areas net year to date. Currently we're at $41,320 positive net income, which is about $35,000 ahead of budget through the month of April. Get down to golf. This was a good story here within the month of April. Golf course revenue came in at $204,291. Came on budget at $204,563. You can see when you compare that to the same month last year, though, actuals were $145,873, so about $60,000 swing to the better. Hopefully, we'll continue to see that moving forward. Both pro shop expense and golf course maintenance expense were underneath budget, so golf course net income came in at $42,958, and that was $18,870 better than budget for the month. If you look over year to date revenue for the golf course, $388,473, about $1,000 ahead of budget of $387,759. But again, whenever you compare that to last year, $2,652, they're about $86,000 to the better revenue. So good to see thus far. And then you can see golf course golf course net through the month of April, or net loss at least at this time is $188,830. Compared to the budget loss of $233,712, so they're about $45,000 ahead of budget year to date thus far. Let's see, go back over the left-hand side, middle column, townhome revenue, that's kind of the 44 Cedar Ridge townhomes up there. That revenue stays the same. Townhome expense, $13,565 is slightly elevated as we have, did make some irrigation repairs to prep irrigation system, which was actually turned on, I believe, last Friday. So they do have irrigation, and it should be flowing about every other day right now. Get into food and beverage. Food and beverage posted revenue of $72,000. That's $2,000 better than actuals from last year, and about $4,000 off budget for this year. We did have a heightened donor participation. You can see member discounts are at 9.7% compared to 8.5% for last year, 8.7% for budget. And then cost of sales came in at 25.5%, so that was good to see within the food and beverage operation. That translated into a food and beverage net loss of $8,360. But you can see that's about $20,000 better than last year and about $9,000 better than what we planned for budget. So it was a good showing for food and beverage within the month just as well. But overall, let's see, go to the right-hand side, middle column, you can see year to date, we're at a $268,000 loss for the year. And that's about $60,000 better than budget year to date, and about $70,000 better better than the same time last year. So it's moving in a positive direction. Questions?
I have a couple, I've probably got about 1 million questions, but if I can start with like just a couple of them. This is more of a comment than a question. I guess this is more of a comment than a question. Looking at our owner receivables, we're carrying a receivable that's $229,000 more than what the total cash we have in the bank. That seems very unhealthy to me. I hope we get an opportunity at some point to review our collection policies and see if we are getting everything that we can possibly get.
Yeah. So I can tell you, I can add a few aspects to that just as well. Receivables, we do have a 30, 60, 90, 120 rule before we actually lien, just to cover our interest, I should say, in the event that a property would sell that is delinquent in dues or amount owed. We do reserve for non-collectibles, which is receivables that we cannot collect each year. Our receivables we collected on in 2025 were, I want to say, 92% collect out rate, 8% uncollected. But whenever you have 94, 95, and these are the non-dues paying, or not dues paying, non-resident bottlers, you know, you have 95, 96 times $2,000 a property, and that's kind of what we have to reserve for each year. But we can get into greater detail as we move forward.
Approximately what percentage of that is attributed to timeshare entity?
Nothing as of 2025. We went and entered into an agreement where they would pay the $305,000 on a yearly basis. They divided up into quarterly payments. Part of that agreement was to write off all back balance, which we have done here in the year 2026. They've faithfully and timely paid on the quarterly payments thus far. It should help their business. At least we're guaranteed the amount of dollars that we know we can collect. They're also subject to 5% dues moving forward, but we've operated with collecting around $320,000 to $345,000 each year, so it won't be a negligible hit to our operations based upon the past.
Thank you. One other question. Under our long-term liabilities, we have notes paid just over $2,700,000. Can you just enlighten me what those notes are and when they might mature?
So we have two notes. The largest note actually covers the clubhouse, golf course, various things like that. It was originally refinanced at $2.6 million. I don't have figures in front of me exactly. I think it's around $2.2 million or so. It might be around $2 million actually, to see. The other part of that notes payable is the Welcome Center. When we purchased the Welcome Center, it was valued at $1.1 million. We put 20% down, $220,000, so we financed another $880,000. So that's the two notes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else? Good. Thank you, Eric. You're welcome. There's one item of old business, just as a housekeeping item for the board. Last month, the Food and Beverage Advisory Group was approved. However, the word committee got into the minutes. And in order to make everything consistent, from the board to revise that, to group the term in the minutes as well as, so.
I'll make that one.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Thank you. There being no new business this month, we will open the floor for the open forum.
I have a couple items of new business I'd like to add if we could.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know I was going to be up here. First of all, I was really glad to hear that the bridge is not about to fall into a creek and that we're not going to be looking at massive expenditures for that. So that's good news. One of the things that I talked about when I did my candidate forum was my concern about our reserves and our reserve study particularly. I see the most recent one on the website was in 2018. I don't know what's been done since then, but that to me is one of the very most important things that we can do is make sure that we know what our upcoming expenses are and that we plan for those upcoming expenses. I'd like to make a motion that prior to the next board meeting, management obtain bids from professional reserve study companies for a complete reserve study of all major components. Additionally, and actually I'd add that said maybe we don't need to, just are we satisfied with the engineer that we have looking at the bridge?
Yeah, I've got a second opinion coming because it was positive and I figured, since it is positive, we probably want a second opinion.
Okay, so I would leave the motion to end that we get a proposal, multiple, if possible, proposals for a complete reserve study for the association.
So before I can second that, I need to understand that more, Wayne, exactly what you're asking for. So if we can discuss that between us before I would vote yes to anything I don't understand.
Okay?
Okay?
Okay.
And that's just Terry. Okay,
Just to clarify, I would like to get proposals from reserve study companies for them to prepare a professional reserve study of all the major components of the association.
I understand that, but I think I need a further discussion on that.
Okay?
Okay?
Okay.
To understand it better.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Just a couple of other items. I was very happy the following morning after our last board meeting to see that the website had been brought up to date and all. I would like to request that post those and also do an email blast, the same as you do with the newsletters, just to let folks know that those things have been posted. If they want to go look at them, they're there. And I would like that as a directive from the board. If that's not doable, I would do it as a motion.
So I would say it is doable. We've talked about it internally. We do receive quite a bit of feedback that we send out too many emails. And for some, it's the reason why they start to bounce. So we do have a balancing act to do there. We talked about putting something in the newsletter, letting everyone know the timing on when we update those and then hit those lines. So people can expect every time there's a change to the website, but still try to get people to the website for information. But it doesn't matter to me.
Okay. If it's not doable, or if it's
Just doable.
if it's not causing you too much grief, I don't want to go through a lot of grief. If it's not, I would like to try it for a month or two and see how it works.
We have plenty that are disappointed in the number of emails that we send. And Andrea deals with most of those. So she could probably talk to you more in detail. I don't know if you.
Yeah, but I don't see an issue of getting the financials on the website more time than that. That was gonna be my fault on the last time, quite honestly. So, we always have, when we review them, we go over them in the board meeting with them, so it's not like they're not accessible. And, yeah, I can work towards
Yeah, we can hit those deadlines, get them on there.
email blasts and different things like that, if that's, the direction we're going.
Okay, and my final request, and then I won't say anything again for the rest of the evening, is we talked a little during our candidate forum also about community. I think that was step one, is getting the financials out and letting people. I would like by the next board meeting to see some sort of a plan submitted as to how we're going to modify the newsletter so that it actually has news in it instead of mostly advertising.
Well, I disagree.
So,
with that.
okay, yeah, I've got if
I
you guys want
disagree
to have a
with
discussion.
that. The newsletter is not all advertising, but the advertising percentage. I mean, we looked at it, it's about 60%.
No, it's
Oh, it's not advertising.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's about 20% of its advertising.
Okay.
7.5 pages out of 37 this last month. But again, I think a lot of our internal flyers and things of that nature may look like advertising.
Right.
Sometimes even some of the articles do.
Yeah, the internal flyers are great. They tell everybody what's going on. I would just like to see something from the various departments about what has happened in the previous month, you know. Oh, did great. How many rounds were there? You know, and something from the restaurant. And I ended up meeting with John the other day over a dead tree that I've got in my yard. And he filled me in on the plantings that had gone at the front entry. And it was enlightening. And everybody drives by and thinks they look really great, but some additional information. You know, little things like that that make people feel like they're a bit more connected to the association.
Yeah, and that's something that's definitely doable. I thought we were talking about advertising, but so when the department heads submit their articles, we really need to have a hard deadline to shoot for. So sometimes those articles become dated because they're going out 15 days later. Sometimes they don't. I mean, we've done this in the past, and there's no reason why we couldn't require our department heads to do it again, especially if that's something that the residents are looking for and we get value out of. The only place where we would require some patience is that whole timing issue. You know, by the time you read it, something could be outdated or changed. So, you know, that's important to understand and know, and not, you know, not try to cause more confusion by getting something out a little too early. But yeah, I think it'd be great and informative. As far as the advertising goes, it kind of helps us be able to print copies for the owners and have them available at the Welcome Center. Or, you know, for some point in time, we were bringing them to clubhouses. I don't know if we still are, if we stopped doing that. But at 20% of the document, it helps, but again, it's nothing that we have to do.
Well, and we also did ask members about the advertising. Was it too much? Should we get out, put it somewhere else? And they all said, leave it. We like that. We like having all the advertising there so that we can see what options we have for calling people for our needs. So,
Yeah, and the advertisers that kind of last are the ones that are seeing value out of it anyway, so you know the residents are using it, the advertisers.
as they say in there.
Okay, thank you.
Can I make a comment with the advertising? I like the ads too, but I would like to have our information up front. So it's not commingled with 17 pages and you're trying to go through 4 big page ads till you get to our information. So maybe if it's helping us financially, maybe just reorganize it a little bit. So the owner's information is up front. And then you can start with the ads and, you know, all that stuff. I think that might help people, and they can, if they're looking for something particular, house cleaning, gutters, whatever, they know it's in the newsletter and they can choose to go down further, and that might take care of both needs.
Thank you. Good suggestion.
Well, as I said, I volunteered to help you with that because I said I work on communication. So I've had some issues with the newsletters myself. So I've written many of them over these 22 years I was on my other board. So don't like typing, but I will help and I will do what would be necessary, go around, run to the people and talk to them and get information and help you with that. Take what you don't need to be on your shoulders. I believe we have a motion, we gotta do something with it.
The motion failed because of no second, I believe.
Well, then it needs to be said.
There was no second, so we can entertain it again next month.
Yeah.
And we have a chance to talk with everyone.
And that was the motion to obtain bids for a complete reserve study.
Okay, so open forum. Anybody has a question, comment, complaint, criticism, praise, come up to the podium, state your name, and you have 3 minutes to tell us what's on your mind. Going once, going twice. Okay. Okay, there's a motion to adjourn.
I second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
June 22nd.
So that I think there's information Yeah, just look at the index page and it's